I've been married to Alice for 7 years now. The last 2 years have been completely dead bedroom, with Alice being extremely closed off. I tried to start date nights, but she would cancel them. Tried to start couples therapy, and again, she would cancel appointments day of. I did, however, start independent therapy, which has helped a lot. Overall, she's been extremely distant. I would get home and she would just tear me apart. Judge everything from how crooked my shoes are in the shoe cubby to how salty dinner is when I cook it. And before you ask, yes, she does work. I also do the majority of the cooking. I find cooking relaxing, therapeutic. After 2 years of this, I finally decided to talk to a lawyer and get my options. Alice seemed as miserable as I do, so I talked to a lawyer about how an equal split divorce would look. Basically, we would have to sell the house, each one keeps a car, and we split the equity of the house, each of us keeping our own retirement accounts. I am fine with this, and I asked the lawyer to start writing it up. Alice in the past had some issues with her temper, so I made sure to record the conversation on my phone, just in case. Well, 2 months ago was when I sat her down and told her I was thinking, and neither of us have been happy for a long time. We should just pull off the Band-Aid and get divorced. Alice then shocked me with her first question. How long did you know? I didn't know what she thought I knew, but I played along and said since the beginning. You knew for half a year and didn't say anything? I have to say, I was very emotionally disconnected from this woman already, partially thanks to a good amount of therapy, so I kept playing along. I asked why him of all people. She then spilled her guts that Frank was there for her and everyone else in the office found him charming. Frank was her boss, so now I had more. We danced around more, and she handed her phone over to me, defeated, thinking that I already knew the worst. I took screenshots of their conversations and forwarded them to my email. Alice wasn't crying, she wasn't begging, but she did act sad. She packed up a bag of stuff and left. I took the recording and the screenshots and sent them to my lawyer. After a brief phone call with my lawyer, we decided not to go with the equal split, but instead, I keep the house, the cars, and whatever is in the joint accounts. Papers were drafted and sent to her, which she has not contested, with her thinking I had a mountain of evidence of her infidelity. Divorce is now underway, with just the clock running until the final decree. The problem starts when my sister Sam bumped into Alice in the grocery store. I talked to Sam about the marital problems and how I wanted an equal split. I didn't, however, tell her about the adultery. Alice told her that she cheated, and Sam was confused. Sam called me last night, asking if I knew Alice was cheating when I got a lawyer. I told her, no, I didn't. Alice volunteered the information when I asked for a divorce, and I played along to get more info. Sam said she was disappointed in me using mind games to trick Alice into agreeing to a less-than-even split in the divorce. Sam said it was stunts like these that are borderline gaslighting. So I got to ask, should I have kept with the equal split divorce? Edited to add, we live in a state that allows both no-fault divorce and fault divorce, and there is a prenup with a cheating clause involved. I originally sought to do a no-fault equal split, basically wash our hands of this sham, get on with our lives. We're not going to try an unrealistic 90-10 either. In the end, it will be more 65-35. She had a lawyer read and agree to the settlement, which she had signed. Like I said, now we're waiting out the clock. Our state has provisions on cool-off periods, and shoot, I didn't have papers ready or drafted when I talked to Alice. With how miserable she was, I figured she would want the split as well. No idea why my sister is so hung up on the dishonesty I had to trick Alice. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. The extra money you are getting out of the divorce is going to help with the extra therapy you are going to want to help you process all the signs you missed. At least, that is the answer I would give to Sam. Comment 2. No, she was cheating, and that is what explains her behavior leading up to the divorce. Alienation of affection. Follow through with what your lawyer suggested. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post, and I figured it was time for an update. So after Alice left that day, things started moving pretty quickly. The divorce papers were signed, and we were just waiting for the final decree, but life, as it turns out, had a few more curveballs to throw my way. First off, let me give you a bit of history. Alice and I met in college, and it was one of those things where we just clicked. We were inseparable, and after graduation, we got married. It was a fairy tale start, but as the years went by, things changed. Alice started working longer hours, and I found solace in cooking and my therapy sessions. Now, back to the present. A few weeks after Alice moved out, I started noticing some strange charges on our joint credit card. Charges for fancy restaurants, hotels, and even a jewelry store. It didn't take a genius to figure out that Alice was still using our joint account to fund her escapades with Frank. I called my lawyer and we put a freeze on the account. Then came the confrontation. I ran into Alice at the bank when we were both there to discuss the frozen account. She was livid, accusing me of trying to control her life even now. I kept my cool, reminding her that the account was still joint and her spending was out of line. She stormed out, and I thought that was the end of it. But oh, was I wrong. A few days later, I got a call from Frank's wife. Yes, you read that right. Frank's wife. She had found out about the affair and wanted to meet me. We met at a coffee shop, and she laid it all out. She had known about Frank's infidelities for a while, but was waiting for the right moment to leave him. She thanked me for being the final straw and even apologized for what Alice had done. It was a surreal moment, to say the least. Now, here's where the heartbreak comes in. During one of my therapy sessions, I had a breakthrough. I realized that despite everything, I still cared for Alice. Not in a romantic way, but she had been a significant part of my life for so long that I couldn't just switch off my feelings. It was a tough pill to swallow, acknowledging that part of me still wanted her to be happy, even after all the pain she caused. But life goes on, and so did the divorce proceedings. The final decree came through, and it was official. I kept the house, the cars, and the majority of our savings. Alice got a fair share, but not as much as she would have if she hadn't cheated. After the divorce, I started renovating the house. It was therapeutic, changing things up and making the space mine. But every once in a while, I'd find something of Alice's, a forgotten earring, a photo tucked away in a book, and it would hit me all over again. Then one evening, Alice showed up at my door. She was a mess, crying and apologizing for everything. She said that Frank had left her, that she had lost her job, and she didn't know where to go. It was a jaw-dropping moment, seeing her so vulnerable. But I had to be firm. I told her that while I wished her no ill will, we were no longer each other's responsibility. She left, and that was the last I saw of her. As for my sister Sam, she eventually came around. She saw how Alice's actions had hurt me and understood why I did what I did. We're back to being close, and she's been a great support through all of this. My friend's GF accuses me of misogyny for calling out her hypocrisy over old bedsheets. So I leave and later learn she's been texting her ex and now wants to move back in with him. I was invited to a friend's house for dinner last night. He just had his girlfriend and her 2 kids move in with him. I helped them move the week before. When I got there, I noticed there was something off between the 2 of them. Things were just awkward. After an hour of very uncomfortable silence, I asked what was going on, thinking I had done or said something to cause this. She then launches into a rant about how she brought sheets from her house for their bed because she didn't want to sleep on sheets that he had during his marriage, which ended several years before they met. She said it was disrespectful and inconsiderate to bring something from another relationship into their relationship. I said, "Haven't you been sleeping on those sheets for the past year when you sleep over? And also, didn't you bring kids from a former marriage into this relationship?" I look over at my buddy and he has a look that just screams, "Oh shoot." Then she starts screaming about how I'm a misogynist who doesn't care about anyone but myself. She then tells him that if I don't leave, she will. I took the hint and left, of course, but I sincerely want to know, was I in the wrong? Also, keep in mind, her kids were at her ex's house. I would have never said that in front of them, of course. Thank you all for giving your thoughts. After reading what seems like 1,000 comments, there is a misconception I felt I needed to correct. And also, I have an update. Many people say I shouldn't have involved myself in the fight, but she wasn't ranting at him. He was in the next room. She was ranting to me. When she finished, I had no intention of responding until she looked at me with a look like I was supposed to respond. So I did. The update: spoke with him a few times last night and again this morning. He is well aware of this post and is enjoying it. That relationship will most likely not last long, and he has already said that, though who knows if he will follow through. She hasn't spoken to him in more than 24 hours now, but here's what happened before I arrived. They still hadn't fully unpacked from moving her in a week before. She was looking for the box with her sheets. I helped move her the week before, so I can confirm that she had a queen bed. My friend told me that she wanted to put her sheets on his bed. He put the box with her sheets in his storage unit because he has a king bed and she had a queen. When she started yelling at him that she wanted to use her sheets, he explained that those sheets wouldn't fit. She got even angrier, and then I rang the doorbell. No wonder she reacted the way she did. She was already upset when a very obvious point was made to her, and she most likely felt stupid. Then I used the same logic and reason that made her feel stupid an hour before. She became even more mad, not that I could have known any of that at the time. Again, thank you all for taking the time to comment. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Didn't you bring 2 kids from a previous marriage? That's freaking hilarious. By the way, your friend is doomed. Comment 2. Okay, but why did this make me laugh? She seems super duper high maintenance. On another note, you're not the idiot. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around after my last post. I've got some more tea to spill about the dinner disaster with my friend and his girlfriend. You won't believe the ride this week has been. So after the whole sheet showdown, things went from bad to worse. My buddy, let's call him Jake, has been walking on eggshells around his girlfriend, who we'll call Sarah. Remember how she hadn't spoken to him for over 24 hours? Well, that silent treatment stretched into a 3-day marathon. Jake was at his wit's end, trying to figure out how to navigate the tension in his own house. But here's where it gets juicy. Jake found out that Sarah had been texting her ex-husband, the father of her kids, about the whole situation. Now, Jake isn't the snooping type, but Sarah left her phone on the kitchen counter with the messages open. It was hard for him not to notice when her ex's name popped up with a preview of the text saying, "Can you believe he won't even let me use my own sheets?" Turns out, Sarah's ex had been a constant presence in her life, more than Jake had realized. They'd been divorced for a couple of years, but they still talked almost every day. Jake knew they co-parented, but he didn't know the extent of their communication. It was a gut punch for him, especially since he'd been trying to be understanding about the whole sheet fiasco. Now let's rewind a bit to give you some context. Jake's marriage had ended pretty amicably. His ex-wife had moved to another state for a job opportunity, and they both agreed it was for the best. They didn't have any kids, so it was a clean break. He'd been single for a while before meeting Sarah, and he thought he'd found someone who understood the complexities of starting over. He was wrong. Back to the present, Jake confronted Sarah about the texts. She blew up, accusing him of invading her privacy and not trusting her. She said that her relationship with her ex was none of Jake's business as long as it didn't affect their relationship. But Jake couldn't shake the feeling that it did affect them, especially when it came to blending their families. Remember how Sarah had moved in with her 2 kids? Well, Jake had a daughter from a previous relationship too, a sweet girl who visited every other weekend. Jake had always been careful to make sure his daughter felt at home in his place, which is why he'd kept the sheets from his marriage. They were a familiar comfort to his daughter, something stable in the shifting sands of post-divorce life. But Sarah didn't see it that way. She saw the sheets as a symbol of Jake's past, a past she didn't want to share a bed with. And now, with the revelation of her constant contact with her ex, Jake started to wonder if she was really ready to leave her past behind. The argument about the sheets and the texts escalated until Sarah dropped a bombshell. She told Jake that she was considering moving back in with her ex, not because they were rekindling their romance, but because co-parenting would be easier if they lived under the same roof. Jake was stunned. He'd opened his home to Sarah and her kids, and now she was talking about leaving? It felt like a betrayal, and he told her as much. They were supposed to be building a life together, not running back to the past at the first sign of trouble. But Sarah was adamant. She said she needed to do what was best for her kids, and if that meant living with her ex, then so be it. Jake couldn't believe what he was hearing. He'd been so careful to make sure his daughter felt welcome, and now Sarah was ready to upend everything because of some sheets and unresolved issues with her ex. As of this morning, Sarah's still at Jake's place, but the atmosphere is icy. They're both stubborn, and neither wants to back down. Jake's trying to figure out what this means for their relationship and for his daughter, who's due to visit next weekend. My husband ignores our daughter's bad behavior, so I move out and he finally sees the chaos. But when she's caught stealing, he begs me to come back and fix everything. My husband and I have 5 children: Elena, 25, Michael, 24, Maya, 23, Andrew, 20, and Emma, 16. My husband was never the most involved father. He would take the kids for fun outings every now and then, but that was about it. He left the rest to me. Our older 4 are all great people. Elena is in medical school, Michael is an electrician, Maya is a nurse, and Andrew is pre-med. They were all fairly easy kids. They've done some stupid things. Elena vaped for about a month, Michael snuck out to see his girlfriend, Maya never did her homework, and Andrew got in a couple of fights. They all still had good grades, were well liked by their teachers, and were overall good people. Emma is, and has always been, completely different from her siblings. She was kicked out of her first preschool, regularly suspended from her elementary middle school, wasn't allowed to go on school trips because of her behavior issues, and her elementary middle school forced us to get an assessment on her twice and take her to see a behavioral specialist, or else she'd be expelled. She's at a public high school now and sees the school psychologist, but is still in trouble, so often that I'm on a first-name basis with the dean at her school. She's still banned from school trips, and we're about 50-50 on her being allowed to attend other school functions. Over the past month, she has 1. Stolen alcohol from friends' parents and got so drunk she ended up in the emergency room. 2. Skipped school 3 times. 3. Had 5 detentions. 4. Drove her friends to the mall, which is illegal because of her restricted license, while grounded. 5. Started calling all of our family members sped or retarded whenever they annoy her. I can't punish her because my husband always says I'm too hard on her and undermines me. If I try to punish her, she laughs and walks away. She uses her size, she's about 6 inches taller and 80 pounds heavier than us, to intimidate me and my daughters, and is very aggressive with my sons. My husband and I were arguing because I took her car keys after she took her friends to the mall, and he said she's being a normal teenager. I have something against her, and that there is nothing wrong with her behavior. I snapped. I told him that if there's nothing wrong with her behavior, he can deal with her. I packed a bag, and I'm currently staying with Maya 5 hours away. I called the school and told them to contact my husband when they have any issues, and that I will not be responsible for Emma and her behavior anymore. My husband has called me multiple times saying I need to come back and that Emma needs me. I've told him that he needs to deal with her now, since he never saw her behavior as a problem. He's calling me cruel and a horrible parent now. I'm sure this will end in divorce, but I just wanted to know if I was wrong for leaving and telling my husband that Emma is his problem now. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is the exact right thing to do. Your husband has basically been a Disneyland dad his entire parenting life, and now he needs to wake up and smell the coffee. Your daughter has problems. I don't know if she needs to see a psychiatrist or get on medication, or if possibly she's just a sociopath. Either way, he needs to realize that he is not helping by undermining you. The two of you need to be united. Leave him in the mess he made. Don't contact him or allow him to contact you for a while. After a month, maybe go and check in and see what he says. Comment 2. Not the idiot. He definitely needs to open his eyes. Was she diagnosed with anything? You mentioned assessments. If she was, is he using that to brush off her behavior? I suggest family couples therapy and making it clear that this is serious. Otherwise, he might just assume this isn't a big deal since you've dealt with it for so many years already. Now for the update. Hey everyone, a lot has happened since my last post. I'm still staying with Maya, and things have escalated back home in ways I never expected. After I left, my husband tried to handle Emma on his own. He quickly realized that her behavior was more than he could manage. Emma's antics have only gotten worse. She threw a massive party while my husband was at work, and the police were called due to noise complaints. The house was trashed, and several items were stolen, including a laptop that belonged to Michael. When my husband confronted her, she shrugged it off, saying it was just a party and that he was overreacting. But here's where the injustice comes in. Michael, who had been saving up for a new car, was devastated about his laptop. It had all his work documents and personal photos, and he didn't have a backup. When he asked Emma about it, she laughed in his face and told him to get over it. My husband, instead of disciplining her, simply offered to buy Michael a new laptop. Michael refused, saying it wasn't about the laptop, but the principle of the matter. He couldn't believe our father was letting Emma off the hook so easily. Meanwhile, Elena, who's always been the peacekeeper, tried to talk some sense into Emma, but Emma lashed out, calling her names and even pushing her during a heated argument. Elena called me in tears, saying she didn't recognize her little sister anymore. Andrew, who's usually calm and collected, got into a shouting match with Emma after she took his car without permission. She returned it with a huge dent and no apology. Andrew was furious, and for the first time, he stood up to our father, demanding that he stop enabling Emma's behavior. Emma's school called my husband to inform him that she had been caught vaping on school grounds and was facing suspension. He was shocked and finally started to see that Emma's behavior wasn't normal teen rebellion. He's been trying to enforce some rules, but Emma just laughs at him, knowing he's never followed through with any real consequences before. The school psychologist suggested a stricter behavioral plan and more consistent consequences, but Emma has been manipulating the situation. She tells my husband that the psychologist is out to get her and that she's the victim in all of this. My husband, who's always had a soft spot for her, struggles to see through her lies. Emma's behavior has put a strain on the entire family. Maya, who's been my rock through all of this, confessed that she's relieved Emma isn't her responsibility. She's seen the toll it's taken on me and is worried about the impact on our family. My husband has been calling me more frequently, begging me to come back and help. He admits he was wrong about Emma and that he needs my support to handle her. But I'm torn. I feel like I abandoned my family, yet I also feel a sense of relief being away from the chaos. The situation came to a head when Emma was caught stealing from a local store. My husband had to pick her up from the police station. He was embarrassed and realized that the problems with Emma were more serious than he ever wanted to admit. Now he's trying to enforce the rules we should have set years ago, but Emma is rebelling even more. She's been skipping school, coming home late, and ignoring any attempt at discipline. My husband is overwhelmed and keeps telling me how hard it is to deal with her alone. The rest of the kids are at their wits' end. They've been trying to support their father, but they're also angry that it took me leaving for him to finally see the truth about Emma's behavior. They feel like they've been saying it for years, but their concerns were always dismissed. As for me, I'm still at Maya's, trying to figure out my next move. I'm worried about my family, but I also know that I can't go back to the way things were. Emma's behavior has caused so much damage, and I'm not sure how we can move forward as a family. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.